What's up, homies and hoes? I'm back again to show you another world of mine. Continuing with the theme, going back in time through my bases. And the base slash world that I had before the previous episode is this one, which is my Minecraft realm world, which I still play on, and I still build on. So it was kind of a decision whether I wanted to do this one first or the other one first. But I figured since the other one was newer, I did create it sooner. This one was created in early 2020 before 1.16 came out, like a week before. And so when 1.16 came out, we started this world. And I keep saying we. When I say we, I'm talking about me and a friend of mine named Ahbastion. So this world is pretty much our magnum opus that we still build on every now and then. Sometimes I'll get on to do some stuff. But that's besides the point. We're here to talk about the builds and stuff on here and take a look at them, see how I've improved, or maybe, you know, what was worse than some of the stuff in the other episode. Maybe what's better. And this world is very large, so I'll try to keep everything short. I won't go into too much detail on a lot of it. I'll probably be making videos on this world after this series. And in those videos I can go into more details about some of the buildings that I've got here. Maybe some more history on, how I came about deciding to make them, where I made them. And in this video I just kind of want to go through it all relatively quickly. And the first place I'd like to start out with, I think, would be showing you where it all started, which is right over here. This is the base for everything. This is where all the magic happens. It's where all the storage is. And this was the first thing to get built around here. At the time when we started this world, I don't remember if we had decided whether we were gonna do a cave base or make a house and make that a base. But pretty much as we started, like we always do, I found a area in the world that I liked, which happened to be really close by. And it was this area. And somehow we just decided that over here would be the entrance. And from there, inside, my friend Ahbastion laid out how he wanted it to look like from the inside. So he just started making simple cutouts of the rooms. And what he had was he dug out this first room, this first hallway, I guess you could say. Then he dug up to here, had this emptied out a little bit, and then he dug down here. And then again over here, he dug up to symbolize, that would be a floor over there, and then he dug down to here. And the reason he did this was because he wanted there to be varying elevations within the base. He didn't want it to all be on the same level. So it was my job to design, since I'm picky about how it looks. I was the one to design everything. But he was the one who chose dark oak to put everywhere in here. before this world, I really never used dark oak wood. And now I use it all the time. I never use regular oak wood anymore. So, early on, we didn't have these villager trading spots in here. These were just bookshelves. But we did plan on, the bone floor, which we got pretty early. I did design this wall and everything early on. All these rooms. This one was designed... It was pretty late that I designed this room in terms of the other rooms that are in here. But this was just a nice little entrance area, since this is a second entrance on the side. So down here is the storage room, which he also laid out. Again, before this world, I never stored things like this, where they were double chests going back and all stacked next to each other. I never had storage rooms like this, and you'll start to see that in the next episodes. And even early on, when he decided to store them like this with the item frames symbolizing what would be in each chest, I raised questions early on like, well, isn't it kind of difficult to open them up from the side? I mean, the item frames take up most of the space where you can click on the chest, and he's just like, yeah, I know, but we can, we'll get used to it after a while. Which, I mean, I guess we have gotten used to. I still find it annoying having to do it, but it's just so convenient to have all the chests stacked like this, and it looks so much nicer with the item frames showing what's in there. Back here is the secondary storage. It's where we store some bulk stuff that we just get a lot of, like wool and stone especially. Gunpowder over there. Down here we got our map, which I keep updated regularly if anything ever changes outside. And we got some zombies in here that we used for turning villagers into zombie villagers so we could cure them. And also these backs, they're all mushroom blocks. That took a little while to get. I mean, we are near a dark oak forest, so we could get the mushroom blocks pretty early. But it was just annoying having to go and grab them all. And yeah, I actually really like this layout. I don't feel like anything is too far away from another. It can be a little annoying if I have to go back here to the bulk storage. But I mean, it's really not that far of a walk. I like having all of the tables and stuff that we need in the middle. I like that we have the beacon at the bottom coming through the center. And overall, I'm just really happy with how this ended up looking. So next we can go up here, and up here for a long time we didn't have much other than a hallway just going to this Nether Portal and the staircase going up and this balcony, which this balcony, I mean, I made it really early and I still don't like it. I don't know what to change about it. It just doesn't look good. And only reason I keep it here is just because I don't know how to make it look better. I'm sure I could if I just took the time to actually try to make it look better. But that's just something I built really early on and just never changed because I wanted to have a balcony here, but I just don't know how else to make it. So at some point in development, long after we had everything else built, I decided that we should have another hallway here going down that we could put some farms and stuff in on the sides. So we came up with a list here. There were 2 other signs that were here that I got rid of because we put them somewhere else. But this was just stuff that we were thinking of, you know, like what other farms can you make? So we just made a list of some stuff that we might want to put up here. As you can see, the only thing we actually did put up here was the sheep farm, which has changed. Originally designed by Ahbastion. And just by the way, if I say Killer, I'm talking about Ahbastion because I always call him Killer. So he originally designed this, the auto shearing, and he had all of the wools collect underneath in a chest that was right about here. But it was only a double chest, and it'd have to be emptied out pretty regularly. So one day, I came in and was just like, you know what? I'm tired of having to empty this out all the time. I'm gonna make an auto sorter for all this. So there was just glass here. There was no entrance to get in here since we didn't need to. So took out the glass, and I made this whole section back here, which is the wool auto sorter. I have never emptied these chests since making it, and as you can see, there's like a decent amount of wool, but none of the chests are even half full, which is surprising considering how often this area over here is loaded. But I guess it just goes to show how little you get from the sheeps. Over here, something I made and designed. So right here, we've got my room. Just a small little cozy room in here. Over here, I made Killer's room. This one's acacia themed. Each room, I tried to theme it around whatever wood I was going to use in there. These rooms are like, you know, just kind of like for several people. As you can see, I tried to give each of them a unique feel, so that they were, you know, they look different, had different designs. And then last is the jungle themed room. Quite happy with how all of these rooms turned out. And then here is just a balcony. Alright, and we're almost done with the base. All that's really left to talk about is this down here. So down here we've got the dock. We've got one of the docks. And it really didn't have a purpose for a long time. This was a really early building too. Like before any of this stuff was even out here, I built this just because I thought it would look nice over here. Thought this was a great spot for a dock, so I made one. And there was the reason this whole room back here exists is because Killer, A.K.A. Ahbastion, created a super smelter here, where up here was where you put in the resources you wanted to smelt, and then like down here was the fuel, and then down here was where it all came out. But it worked decently enough. The problem was that it just wasn't efficient. So we had it in here for a long time. It really didn't get used that much because there's not that often that we needed to smelt like a huge bulk of items. And when I did try to smelt huge bulks of items, it was just using up fuel that, you know, it was very inefficient. So I decided to move it recently, talking like less than a month ago. I decided to move it, and it's now somewhere else, but now it's not even hooked up, so it can't even be used. And I'll get to that. But there's still some stuff in here. I have a AFK fishing pond. Recently, with the 1.17 update, I added some, you know, dripstone in here to farm it. And then we've also got a cobblestone generator because we always use silk touch picks, so we never get cobblestone from anything. And again, this is a really recent addition, like past month. Over here is a rail duplicator, since we do use rails often for transporting villagers and for making the railway. So, you know, useful to just duplicate some rails. So now this space just looks really weird with how empty it is. Moving on from there, we go over here to the other entrance, the side entrance. So to start with, we'll go left, which is down to the other dock. This one was made second. Just the spot over here also looked like it could fit a dock. It looked like it would look good over here, so went ahead and made it. And really like how it turned out. It's just too bad that we never use either docks for anything. They're really just there for looks. This bridge, found the design online, except that it wasn't staggered like this. You know, stair-stepping down. It was all just on one layer. And I just modified it to stair-step down like this. Really like how it turned out. And with how it lined up with the ground over here. Over here, this is actually the second mob spawner that we saw, or that we found, right next to our base. We didn't see this mob spawner here when we originally settled. But what's weird is that it was exposed to the outside. So if I take you back up here, our base is right there, but right here where this grass is was a cave that went right to that mob spawner, and it was just right there. And we just never saw it for a really long time. So when I did stumble across it, it was because I was working on the river. I'll talk about that. So when I got to over here, I saw the cave, saw that there was a skeleton spawner in here, and we used this for early XP. And later on I, you know, spiced it up in here, made it look nice. Obviously I recently changed out the glass for tinted glass. And this is a path going to another mob spawner, which is a zombie spawner, which I found because I was working on the farm over here, And somewhere right around here is where that tunnel goes to. There's a zombie spawner down there that we've never done anything with. But the reason this tunnel is like this is because we wanted to have a tunnel that had the fastest speed. So, well, let me bring up the coordinates so you can actually see how fast we're going. So, I'm not swimming. Jeez. Okay, there we go. So you can see by Z, we're going pretty damn fast. Alright, moving on from here. So we can talk about... We'll save best for last, or at least last of the overworld, maybe. We've got the barn, original design. Didn't really use it a whole lot. This spot over here is where we had the sheep originally before Killer moved all the sheep inside the base. Forgot to talk about the cows. So the cows originally were kept here. This used to be fenced off and there were just cows in here, and that's what we did for early food. But after I made this barn and moved the cows in here, I added the cow mob head in here in remembrance for their contribution to our early game. And since this used to be where we kept them. Pigs, just never really did anything with them. And chickens, you know, they're just over here making eggs all the time, but I don't collect them. And I never felt like making a auto collector for them. Next door, we've got the horse pen, not an original design. Got it online. We've got a couple horses in here. Got an undead horse. All looks pretty good. Yeah. This was only a pain to make because it wasn't even over here. Pretty much from about here all the way over to there, the ground was level with like down here. So I had to build up all this dirt around here to make it look natural. Okay, so moving right along, we've got right here these iron farm. So we get a lot of iron from this. Sometimes iron golems just spawn out here because there's villagers in there with beds. This whole design for this building came way later, after the iron farm was already here. I decided that I wanted the iron farm to be enclosed within a building because it didn't look good just sitting out in the open. So that's not it. So we enclosed it, and man, did we have problems. Because the golems can spawn like outside of here, and they were spawning like way up there. And it's just been a problem. This place has always been a problem. So sometimes golems spawn, fall down there. If there's not a golem down there like there is right now, I guarantee you if I look up, turn on X-ray, there's gonna be a golem. Oh wow, would you look at that? So yeah, every now and then, probably like once an hour or something, a golem will end up spawning way up top and just not come down. So if you want to keep the iron going, you have to go up there, you either kill them or lead them down. This is the creeper farm, which we used to get gunpowder early on, but it also doubles as a spider farm, because spiders can also spawn in here sometimes. This always produces. It's always working. And again, we enclosed it just to make it look nicer, except that we never decorated the outside to make it look nicer. And this on top, I guess I should say that, put it shortly, this has gone through some changes in design a lot. But this top part, from like the bottom of the screen up, isn't an original design. I got it online. But yeah, this building has gone through some changes in how we wanted it to look. Over here is the access to the iron farm and creeper farm goods. Got a little window here for viewing. Down here is where all the iron builds up. Recently cleared it out, so not too much iron. And obviously I came up with the design in here. I don't know why I said obviously, because it's not that obvious. In here is the, creeper loot. Doesn't produce too much because mobs still spawn all over the place. So up here, pretty recent addition. Guess I can talk about this whole area. So, I mean, really not even until, I want to say like 6 months ago or something, earlier this year of 2021, I mean, I finally got around to laying out the area in that I added roads and added these markers for where some buildings will be. And I also made this building here, which is the town hall. And, I added all this. So this over here is the minecart track. Doesn't go anywhere, really. I mean, it goes, a ways over there into the jungle, goes a ways over there to the ocean. But they don't lead to anywhere, at least not yet. Again, pretty much an original design. Aside from the rails, I don't know that I got the ideas from anywhere else specifically for this stuff. But I'm really happy with it. This whole area up here was different originally. Looked like absolute ass. And this is originally how I wanted it to look. But I just never got around to making it. So finally one day, got around to destroying it and actually making it look good. And it really came together when I finally got around to making the roads and everything to add the sign in front of it. Let's take a quick look on the inside town hall. Took a lot of time to figure out what I even wanted this place to look like. But I'm quite happy with how it turned out. I think it all looks like it makes sense. Nothing really looks too out of place. Nice meeting room up here. Ooh. Over here, This is the villager breeder, which I forgot to turn off, so there's a bunch of villagers there. This was made really early on by Killer. He made both of these buildings, and he made the villager trading hall right here for some early enchantment books. Very useful. And on top of it, he just made it a little more efficient and added a sugarcane farm on top so we could trade emeralds. Right here is my little temporary construction, which I use to turn these villagers into zombies and then change them back into villagers. I've just been using this little area when I need it. Over here we've got the church and graveyard. Very happy with how this turned out. The only thing I referenced this from was a picture that I found. So really the only thing that I got from online was a picture of a real life church, which I tried to emulate the look of here. Changed it up a bit on the outside. And on the inside, I also got the stained glass designs from online. Nobody has ever been able to decipher what these stained glass portraits are of. So if you got any guesses, go ahead and guess. Put them in the comments if you actually think they look like what they're supposed to be. This design, I'll start with, is the only one I designed. And I'll accept two interpretations. It was supposed to be a sword. The white part would be the blade. This is the guard and the grip up there. But honestly, it just kind of looks like a villager angel now, where these are like the wings coming off the side. That's like his arms crossed. And the brown is like his head. So I can see both a sword and a villager angel. Then this is a Totem of Undying. This is a golden carrot. And this is an elytra. And I tried to keep it themed of like combat, sort of, where you use elytras to fly around, use golden carrots as food, golden totems to stay alive, and the sword to, you know, avenge yourself from evil. This is the stage where the preacher preaches to nobody because there's no preacher and there's nobody on the server. Back here we've got the little cheat sheet for what the window designs are actually of. And this is just like the priest room, I guess. You know. Over on this side is the staircase access to the choir stands. This is where the choir would sing if there was a choir and anyone could sing. Up there, this is also something I got online, is the organ. Modified it a little bit to fit within this space here. Really like how it looks though. And you know, just some seats up here as well. And at the top's really nothing to see other than there's just a bell. Now the graveyard. Oh, I guess I can do a quick view of how it looks on the outside. Nothing too spectacular. Pretty simple design all around. Only thing I don't like is how this is only one block wide in between the stained glass. but I didn't want to make it wider because I'd already made most of the church already. So in the graveyard, this is where we honor the fallen, especially the villagers. They've really helped us. So got that villager statue online. Then we got all the graveyards, or all the graves. Tried to vary them, make them look a little different. This one back here is supposed to be a dead tree. Sort of looks like the ground is like rotting over here. It's what I was going for. And here's where we honor the fallen zombies that have helped us to create farms and turn villagers. R.I.P. Demartwan, Jamal, and John Tavius really helped us out. Yeah, we've got some larger tombs right here. Got some benches around. Nice little pond here. And we got the crypt. Got the little room to hack them up and store them. And then we've got a even larger tomb, which I got the idea from a mod that adds tombs. Well, it adds dungeons, and one of the dungeons is a tomb. Now up here is the garden. This is where the staircase leads back inside the base. We got some hives in here, which bees are apparently migrating from, because earlier there was a bee way over there for some reason. And as you can see, there's a bee way up there. You know, it's never good enough. Living in a flower forest up here. Right here's the sacred tree, which I finished, here on this day at that time. Pretty happy with how it looks. Pretty much the first large-scale tree that I've ever made. So, it looks pretty good. Certainly some parts that I'm not a huge fan of. But, I look at it, it was my first tree to ever be custom made like that, so I'm quite happy with it. Over here is a nice waterfall mountain into a pond. For some reason, I'm extremely proud of this. I don't know why. I mean, it looks really nice, but it took a little bit of ingenuity, because this whole upper part from like that gravel up wasn't originally up here. The mountain was just flat across. So I had the water up here, and then it flowed out and then down. But the problem was all the water was freezing, so then there wouldn't be any water falling. So at the top I had to make a cave, as you can see, with the water in it. Some details in here, like some magma that you would never see. And inside, which you can get to from over here, the little cave within. Going up the mountain, we have nothing, because I never made anything, but that's what I planned on making. Statue and a temple. Just never found the inspiration to continue it. We got a little gazebo here. So, quick thing to show off is, you know, that skeleton spawner back at our base? Well, the first spawner that we actually found was this one, which was the zombie spawner, which was pretty much Ahbastion's little baby over here. He made this rotating opening door. He made the inside. He spent his time over here. Doesn't look like that should be like that. That's... oh, definitely happened over here. I don't know what, though. Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious a creeper exploded, but I don't know when or how. So, the way he designed this was the spawner's right there, as you can see, and then they fall, or actually they don't fall. He transports them over to here. They go up here to outside. Then they're moved all the way down to over here where they fall. And then they get sent to 1 HP. Right over here. And this was actually what we used for early XP for a while. But with the skeleton spawner being closer and more efficient because we didn't have to wait for the zombies to go through that whole waterway, we just abandoned this ever since we found that spawner. Alright, we're getting pretty close to everything within the overworld. Only got a couple more things left, like the farm, which I made. I wanted to have a huge farm, like bigger than I've ever made before. Not sure if there was supposed to be fence gates here or not. Don't remember. I never go in through the front. And, I mean, as you can see, it's quite large. None of it is automated. Never actually harvested all of it at once. And it's got everything. Everything that you can farm, I think. Might be thinking Netherwart. Well, I got you covered. I got Netherwart around here. So this has changed actually within the past, like, week, maybe? This building has always been here, but for a long time under here were 4 villagers to trade with that were farmers. Which is how we, you know, eat golden carrots all the time now. So I changed that to this. This is a recent addition. You know, the look of the inside. Got 4 more villagers in here. All with the trades that we need. And down here is the Netherwart. Here, this has always been here, which is just a mushroom farm. Sort of. It's... oops, sorry. It's, very inefficient, as you can see. But essentially what used to just be in here was just the mushroom farm. And there was nothing else above it. But the Netherwart has always been in here. And I added this recently, which is a Melanin pumpkin farm, which, as you saw in the previous world, I had trouble with. This one, since I only made it like last week, it was way easier. So, all the chests are at the same level. Got plenty of storage in here for everything. And I got a lever here to flick so I can AFK. And this is another portal just to have quick access to it. Get over here a little quicker. Up here was originally, I mean, it still is, a little storage room for some of the resources. 2 more things, I think, to show. Whoop, lagged a little bit there. So we're going to head a little farther into the jungle. And we'll find this, which is a bamboo farm. And this is where I was going to move the super smelter, except that I realized I'm so inept at making redstone contraptions that I just don't know how to make this efficient and how to do this properly. The idea is that there would be 3 sections. This one would be the section for just regular furnaces, then there'd be one for smokers, and there'd be one for blast furnaces. And you'd put in the resources you want smelted, and then resources you want smelted would go in here. Resources that have been smelted would come back here. But I don't know how to do that. So it's just pretty much gonna stay exactly like this until somebody that knows redstone fixes this and builds it like I want it. Because all this is just full of bamboo. And I have no idea how to start moving all this bamboo into, what, like 48 furnaces? All efficiently. So this is pretty much just gonna stay like this. And last thing to show in the overworld is over here in the desert. So if you recall, just right beyond that this jungle right here, you see, that's the town hall. Right over here is the end portal. Very surprised that we managed to build base so close to the end portal. And as you can see, we dug it all out because we have plans for this that we haven't done anything with. And really nothing to see in the portal. Oh, that's weird. I guess they fixed that. Used to be able to enter from underneath. But nothing in here other than we've got all of the portals spawned in. And as usual, an Enderman Farm. Way out here. Designed a little bit different since it's older. But still very efficient. Just got a bunch of storage here for extra books and whatnot. Ooh. Okay, so last is to show you what's in the Nether. Because there actually is stuff in the Nether. Got a small little Nether hub here with a storage room and a drop down. I don't know how the hell he got in here. I mean, I don't know where the hell he got into the Nether from. But really not a whole lot to show. There's several farms that we've got around the place, or paths to farms. Right here we've got half a bastion that I've been destroying to get blackstone and to just remove this from this area, because we have a plan to make a nether base in here, which is going to go here. As you can see, it's not too far in the process, but it's been under construction for probably over a year now. Over this way, also a somewhat recent addition, is a wither skeleton farm. which is just not as AFK-able as we'd like. Everything went wrong with this. The killer didn't build this low enough because he didn't want to have to deal with lava. So this is all raised up, so the wither skeletons are one hit with the sword that I use, but the AFK-able part with the dogs doesn't work because the dogs don't kill them in one hit, so the wither skeletons attack them back. A big problem was slabbing this whole area. The whole area is not slabbed, by the way. A lot of stuff is slabbed, though. I mean, we're talking tens of thousands of slabs have been placed all over. And we still haven't covered everything. But thankfully at this point we don't even really need to. I'll show you here. Oh my. What a piece of shit. As you can see, there's still mobs spawning all over the place. Obviously, damn ghast are spawning. But yeah, there's still like little pockets here and there. Most of the Soul Sand Valley over there isn't even slabbed. But a lot of the important stuff is slabbed. Pretty much everywhere close by is slabbed. It's just, 100 plus blocks away isn't. And apparently one slab right there isn't there. Alright, so there's a couple farms to show you. Just a quick note, this tunnel actually leads back to where that bastion is. But we don't use it because it's slower. Up here is a gold farm, which took quite a while to make. But there's all the layers. As you can see, it works pretty well. Recently cleared this out as well. I just haven't been back here, so it hadn't been working. So lots of rotten flesh in here. Quick note, this Nether Portal actually just leads back out to the overworld above where the creeper spawner is. Down this tunnel, that is the Nether Portal that's inside of the farmer trader area within the farm. A few hundred blocks this way, maybe only 100 blocks this way, I don't know. Right here is it's the Seaweed Farm, what is it, Kelp. It's the Kelp Farm, so it's not efficient because walls need to go up on either side because so much of the kelp flies out and doesn't get collected in here. But yeah, it still works decently. Alright, a little bit farther away from the Kelp Farm portal is down here. It is the Guardian Farm portal. Right over here. Got a nice little villager trading area to trade raw cod for because Guardians drop a lot of raw cod. All these barrels are filled with raw cod and a stack of emeralds. So if we go through the portal, we can see the design over here. Never mind, it's not over there, it's over here. works extremely well, by the way. Talking like half an hour. All those chests you saw in there are filled almost. Alright, and before I end this, there is one other thing I suppose I can show, which is the basement here where we've dug out most of this. And here's just a design that we were testing out for the Nether Base, you know, what we kind of wanted it to look like. This is also dug out so that we could get slime. Sometimes slime spawn down here, sometimes they don't. And we got the beacons down here. Kind of annoying that they're way down here because it means that their effect up there isn't as wide. And we just got several tunnels going each way. Originally there was a zombie villager down here that we trapped and cured, and then he somehow died. So that's why this is here. Alright, and that's really it to show you with this world, at least as it is now. Next, I will show a couple quick things. A failed project that I was working on one day, but decided to scrap. And then I'll also show some comparisons of what this world looked like before and after we started building here. Okay, so I'm in a testing world from before I, built the roadways and everything. This is where I came to test how I wanted it to look, how wide I was going to make this area and everything. And down here, I was experimenting with making the docks more useful. Because, you know, as they are now and were before, they're just kind of there for looks. You never go down there for anything, even when the super smelter was there. So I wanted to make them useful. So I figured, okay, I could add some stuff down here. And this is what I added. Looks very nice. Took some time to come up with the design and everything for in here. But just never... it just wouldn't work. So one problem with this place is that this whole wall, there is no room to go any further this way. I am right up against the inside of the storage room in here. So this is as close to the to like this side as it can get. And I had the idea that I wanted, you know, maybe each of these little slots to have an auto farm in them. So I started thinking of some auto farms that I could add, you know, maybe like a stone auto farm, cobblestone, you know, different stuff. And here was going to be the kelp auto farm. And you saw how terrible I was in the last world at making a kelp farm. Well, this one's no exception. This one just had so many problems. I spent probably 2.5, 3 hours trying to set this thing up to work right. One problem was that the kelp would grow too fast up here sometimes. So if the observer didn't activate fast enough when the kelp grew, then it would mess up the water flow, and that would mess up the whole system. As you can see, the water flow is already messed up. So, I mean, I worked out a lot of stuff in here. How the items flowed, like where they were going to collect. So all the items that would drop from here would empty into these chests. But just having this row here of kelp isn't really much kelp. So I decided, well, add a couple more. So I added a layer here and a layer here of kelp. But again, sometimes the kelp just grew too fast and would mess up the water flow, and that would mess up the whole collection system. And look at the path that these kelp go through to line up with everything. So here's the collection for the top part. The collection for this side, like for the water that flows this way, it like drops here, flows down here, goes around here, slides over to here, everything collects right here, goes up and empties out into these hoppers. But I mean, it wasn't going to be practical. This area on the realm is already starting to lag with all the stuff that's in it. So adding just a bunch of farms under here isn't exactly going to help it at all. And this whole kelp farm, originally, I wanted it to be like the kelp farm that I have just in the ocean, where it's a flying machine underwater that goes back and collects it. Couldn't get that to work because just the collection for it was becoming a problem, because again, right up here is the storage room, and that was just a huge problem. Nothing but disappointment in here. Really like the design of it all in here, but at the end of the day, I just don't know, like, even if I were to build it, what we would even put down here at this point. I mean, there's so much space to all this. I don't know. I mean, it's like you could put barrels down here to store some stuff, but I mean, that's just going to be out of the way. Why not just put it in the storage room up there where it's all convenient to get? So at the end of the day, it just, even though I spent so much time designing this and trying to make it to work, just wasn't going to work as much as I wanted it to. But you never know. Maybe someday this design comes in handy for something. I don't know what. Maybe I'll use it somewhere else in the realm. But for now, it's just a scrapped idea that is never gonna see the light of day. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. And if you have any comments or suggestions, good or bad, leave them down below. And I'll see you in the next video.